Newsline.
Hello there, a very good evening and welcome to another edition of Newsline Live, of course coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. The economy of Sri Lanka, of course, has been the topic of discussion on Newsline Live for quite a number of occasions. Today, to continue our discussion on this matter, we've got with us Professor Kennedy Gunawardena, Senior Professor of Accounting at the University of Sri Jayawardenepura, also affiliated with the Samagijana Balavegya. He's a member of the media unit of the Samagijana Balavegya. A very good evening, Professor, and welcome to the show.
Good evening to you.
Professor, economies around the world have taken a real strong hit because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Of course, also Sri Lanka being a part of the world and being still a developing country, we also had to suffer the brunt of the blow because of COVID-19. However, COVID-19 vaccines are now in Sri Lanka. The inoculation program began today. How will this, in turn, affect the economy of our country in the future?
Yes, very good question. Now, before that, I would like to start my discussion in a different way. Do you remember our happiness index, our gross happiness index? I think the last couple of years, we are in the very less numbers.
Right.
But now we are in 130 plus. That means people are not happy. That people have money sometimes, but they are not very happy. Because they can't go outside the main cities, they can't go outing for a dinner, and I think there are a lot of issues people are right now facing. They are not very happily moved. I think once the COVID, this vaccine comes, even though it's work or not, it's a different manner. But people get the confidence. Right, now we can go out, we can do our livelihood in very better way, and we can do our businesses. Now people get some kind of confidence. I really feel that, I think the COVID-19, I don't know how they are going to distribute and all, still I think go to the health sector number one, then other people number two. Anyway, the numbers are still less, I think, what they are going to give, only 10% of the population or 15% of the population, but that's not enough. It should be for a whole population. Honestly speaking, which group of people suffer from the COVID-19? Especially the blue collar style people. That means our poverty level people. Right? They want to go to the day-to-day businesses. They want to they use the public transport. Right? They are less than the middle income people. Maybe they earn, I think, less than $2 or $3 per day. Their income per day. I think they are the people more suffering from this COVID-19. They are the people who got affected more. The middle income people and the highest people, they don't have these issues much. I really feel that they have to go to the next 10% or 15% to the poverty line people, especially people who are working in the garment industries, laborers and other people, day-to-day income people. You have to give vaccine to them. I think the next priority after the health workers. Otherwise, I think we can't come up with the economy well.
So, as far as confidence goes in investors in Sri Lanka, will the fact that Sri Lanka beginning the inoculation program for COVID-19 have an effect on foreign investors who are seeking to invest in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, it's very hard to say how it's affected the foreign investors. Now, when you look at the Colombo stock market, right now is booming like a rocket. When you compare with the New York stock market, London stock market, Tokyo stock market, their growth rate is like a less than 1%, 2%, 3%. But our one is going huge way. I have a really doubt about that. How maybe the low interest rate, people put in the money, or maybe money circulation is less, people have a money already printed, the government already printed a lot of money. I don't know what is the reason behind that. We don't know whether it's money laundering happening or a black money coming to the market. We don't know whatever. But anyway, real situation we can see end of the March. Because end of the March 31st, most of the companies, they have released their annual reports, audited annual reports. Then definitely we can see whether this is artificially booming or whether it's a real development.
Also, there were certain concerns raised from various factions regarding Sri Lanka launching diplomatic relations with a country named Liechtenstein.
Yes.
Now, for those who really do not know where this country is or haven't heard of this country before, it's a small European country in landlock between two other European countries, of course. And this country, amazingly enough, has more companies registered in their country than the number of citizens that actually live there. So the concerns that were raised were regarding the fact that this country, Liechtenstein, being known across the globe to be a tax evasion haven. So launching diplomatic relations with this country, was this a part of, was this long-standing discussions to
Yes.
launch diplomatic relations with that country, or was this a sudden thing that just happened?
I think you remember that long time back people were talking about the Panama Papers.
Yes,
Yeah, it's also another kind of,
like another Panama.
another Panama. I think this is also something like that. Now we have a lot of countries to develop the good diplomatic relationship. Right now there are a lot of, good countries, or maybe countries, I think we have a lot of relationship we can build. Here what I feel that something different things I can see from this relationship. Whether they try to, I don't know, do they have a lot of money to invest such a companies which are not registered, or a easy business you can do. And this is a kind of honestly speaking, people expect more from the government, genuine things they expect more from the government. But under this situation, the genuine, whether government is genuine or not, it's a kind of a question mark in our mindset right now. Because the very important thing is genuine. Now you know that GDP, 87% of the GDP is a debt. Now as simply, if you have 100 income, suppose last year income is 100, 87% of the income, that means 87 rupees, you have to pay for the debts. And we have a remaining in 13%. The government, like in Sri Lanka especially, we know that our education is free and our health also free. Then definitely they don't have enough money to run the government. Then they are looking for a jump start. Jump start means now easy way to get the money. Right? Because right now they getting a money like a FDI way, foreign direct investment, little harder, because whole world in a stressful manner.
Right.
The easy way is, now if you don't have a money, what you do?
Sell
Right?
something.
Yeah, you sell something. Now that is the easiest way. Right? First they try to reduce the certain cost. Second one is, right, sell the assets. Now that's what at the moment is happening. Easiest way, they are actually, if a government genuinely say, actually we don't have a money, we are in these issues, what we can do, maybe people will listen and giving a solution rather than go to the easy ways to earn the money. Now it's another privatization mechanism.
But the argument from the government, I believe you were referring to the East Container Terminal,
Yes.
and to, speak on behalf of those who have already spoken on behalf of the government to re-articulate their views, to present them to you. The government says that this is not a sale, this is not a lease, this is simply an investment. What is the difference here?
There is no difference between investment and investment is, it simply says that whether you have your own money to invest or whether you get the money from the bank or some other places, then you have to invest and you are expecting a ROI, return on investment for that. But here is our assets, right? They can merge the assets with another organization, or they can sell the part of the shares of that assets to another organization. These are totally selling. These are, that is what I said very beginning, government is not genuine. If they are genuine, they can say this is we are selling because we don't have money. Why they are going to say to the community, this is an investment, this is another thing, unnecessary, concepts they are developing among the communities. That's bad. Actually, for the educated people or even layman also knows, I think these are not the right time to say.
So, but the argument again for the government, they say that this is not like what was done to the Hambantota port, which was given on a 99-year lease. We will still retain 51% stake over the East Container Terminal, and thus we will be in control. Is this the reality?
Different. 51% government stakes, 49 with them. That is also forever. At least Hambantota one is 99 years. After that somebody say that okay, you go, we can get the assets. Here you can't get the assets, right? That 49 is remaining with them infinity period. Right? Now totally different. I think much better giving assets for a certain period, at least 30 years or 29 or a certain period what our main issues are over. But now here selling shares or giving a stake for a 49%, that's forever.
But then again, the cabinet paper has not yet been presented on this matter. There is no finality to whether it will be given forever or whether it will be 99 years, whether it will be 35 years. That's again still
that's a
still
transparency issues. Yeah, those are transparency issues. This government came to the, like Yahapalni last time, government came with the big promises they have given to the people, especially the, in the community, general people. But anyway, they are not, promises are big, I suppose.
Well, Professor Kennedy, you admitted the fact that Sri Lanka really does not have enough money, enough funds to, well, run the government, technically. So, according to you, you said that this government is now trying to sell off their assets to get a jump start, to get a bulk sum into the coffers of Sri Lanka. Instead of selling assets, how do you think the government should act to respond to the current situation?
Easiest ways they have, but they are not doing that. They have to attract the foreign direct investment. For that, they have to prepare a good, macro data. They have to keep with a good discipline, good value systems and good transparency system. Once the democracy, right now is a democracy is another big issues we are facing.
The rule of law.
Yeah, those things are, if you maintain properly, then automatically foreigners are come here. No need to sell our valuable assets. First, government want to maintain the proper democracy, proper transparencies and proper kind of equality among the people. Now, good example. What happened to our university education right now? Because of this new technologies, like everybody is doing with the examinations and lecturing and all with the online mechanism. Students who are living in the far away from out of the Colombian main cities, they don't have access to do that. I really feel that this became another issues in a couple of time period, because we have developed the human. Human development is very essential. I don't remember, do you remember that in 1989, some group of people say that Kolambata Kiri, Gamata Kakiri. You remember those things?
Yes.
Now it's a different way, it's an economical way those things happen, those days. Now it's coming in the technological mechanism. Most of our students in outside the Colombo, or maybe some of them are far a village, they can't reachable technologies. Maybe even though they have a phone, it's not a smartphone. Even though they have a smartphone, some features doesn't work properly. Now these are the big issues. I think government really want to look at those things rather than look at that selling properties and getting a money. Easiest ways they have to postpone, I suppose.
Well, Professor, we will continue this discussion after we cross over to a short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Newsline Live.
Newsfirst, Newsline.
Hello there, welcome back. You're watching Newsline Live. We're in discussion with Professor Kennedy, Senior Professor in Accounting at the Sri Jayawardenepura University and also a member of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya Media Unit. Professor, just before the break, we were speaking about the sale of assets of a country being kind of the easy way out to get a lump sum amount into the coffers of the country and then, of course, to use that money to run the government. But again, this was not a plan that was initiated by this government, and they blame the good governance government for first entering into a memorandum of cooperation with India and Japan for a certain portion of the East Container Terminal to be given to these countries for development purposes. They blame that document and say, now this has led to an international row, and therefore we can't back out of it. Is this a legitimate argument?
Oh, what I feel that in that time I also remember that they tried to bring the technology to the authority, technology, because they thought that we are lacking with some kind of a new state of art technology. they try to bring that one. They had some kind of a technical know-how combination or a kind of a things rather than the selling. Because in that time I think Hambantota already given the leases for a 99 years leasing mechanism, that I think government had a lot of pressure for that Hambantota situation. Under that situation they didn't have a much more idea to lease out or sell out this property. And that time I think government had a lot of president and the prime ministers also had some issues, that also affected badly I think our country development.
Well, the debt crisis in Sri Lanka is, of course, you can't ignore the debt crisis in Sri Lanka when we speak about the economy of Sri Lanka. Well, even now there have been loan agreements that have been entered into for construction of infrastructure facilities, and these are massive loans that have been acquired by Sri Lanka. How do you believe that Sri Lanka should restructure their debt in response, of course, to the COVID-19 pandemic that has aggravated the impact on the economy of Sri Lanka?
Very, very tough question, right? Honestly speaking, I think the COVID pandemic, the COVID-19 is a kind of a blessing to the government. But unfortunately, government, they doesn't use it properly. I think this is a good situation. Government can, develop a relationship with the debt owners to get some kind of a, grace period. Right? That is the number one, we can restructure the loan. Grace period is very, very essential. Within that particular period, grace period, we can maintain the democracy, disciplinaries and all corporate governance.
If we can maintain.
Yeah, if we can maintain those things within this grace period, I think very easily we can get the FDI, then definitely we can solve the issues. This is a very simple task, right? But rather than, without maintaining good governance, I don't think foreigners will come here and invest, because foreigners know better than our country. They have a good databases and they predict our figures. That is what last time, certain budget figures, they were distorted. Some people are saying those are not realistic.
Not realistic.
And not realistic. The reason, because they have a big databases, ADB already collect the data, World Bank, IMF, they have all historical data. Throughout the historical data, they can predict big changes are coming among the data. They usually query from us. Now that is what people say, your figures are not realistic. We have to be very genuine. You remember that country, what we try to do diplomats. I really feel it's a very bad movement. It's a kind of a motivation.
You're speaking about Liechtenstein, the country that we established diplomatic relationship with recently.
True. That's a kind of a motivation. People who have a black money or whatever the money they have, they try to clean it white, because it's a kind of motivation. Why we going to develop a relationship with such a country? The world, we have a lot of countries, right? This is not a good example given to the community or our business leaders today. If the government is not genuine, what will happen? Our business leaders also not going to be genuine.
So you're saying there's a risk of Sri Lanka attracting investors of the wrong type?
Yes, true. We have to think about that. There are a group of people, maybe they are interesting who having such a money and they come and do some work. But that is in a long run, that can be a very danger. We won't always get the best people who maintain the good governances, right, and who doing a good investment to develop our nation. They are giving good salaries to our employees, they are giving good technologies, new technologies to our people, right. Then they are developing our human capital. That is the most important thing our people also having. Now that's what I want to tell you. Rather than go to this university teaching or school teaching, why they are not using televisions? Televisions are lot in our country, spreading all. Even though if you don't have a television, community centers also have a television. They don't use that particular mechanism to distribute the lectures among the students or class notes among the students. They use always high cost methods, high cost mechanism. The education system, I don't know what is happening today. without thinking such a simple techniques what we have right now, even the radios, right? Easily, even though television is much better, even though have a student have issues, they can call, but they're using smartphone, laptop, internet connection, Facebook mechanism, social media mechanism, high cost. In the village level students, the time to time they come and go, but 3 hours, 4 hours, they can't listen it. Now those are the, the areas we have to pay more attention.
Well, speaking about establishing diplomatic relations with this European Union country, we spoke quite deeply about it. Sri Lanka has been in and out of the grey list on money laundering, and of course there are consequences in being in the grey list for money laundering. Many countries don't promote among their investors countries that are on this grey list for money laundering will also lose some other concessions that have been granted to us by various international organizations. Is there a risk of Sri Lanka maybe falling back into this grey list as a result of activities that take place post establishing diplomatic relations with this European country?
Yeah, this is purely the central bank, that is their duties. I think central bank already issued some circulars and they have introduced some law, I suppose that, right, to prevent all these money laundering activities. But I don't know why they are going to develop an international relation or a diplomatic relationship such a tiny country in the world, which are not recognized by the UN also, and they are not members of the UN, they are not members of some other countries. This is what still I have feel that this is not a good example to us.
Professor, we're in the final few minutes of this show. You had some very strong views about the budget proposal that was presented.
Yes.
No longer a proposal, that is the budget for the year 2021 right now. As far as the information that you have received, how much of it has been implemented? How practical is it? Do you still believe in it?
Still, I think I have that same idea I have in my mind. The certain figures are not really realistic. Now I think this year also 1 month is almost gone. After budget, I think in the November, now December, and that's 2 months gone. But we can't see any developments. It's not due to the COVID-19. That's a blessing to the government to say always COVID-19 is the issues. We don't have vaccines. Now we are going to get the vaccine. Not like that. But budget is for a next year period. Each and every month they have to achieve the targets. But in the first 2 months already gone. But still we can't see any achievements of the targets. Universities are stuck with the studies, right? Still the new batches are not coming to the university system, right? They are at the home. And some universities are going to do online teaching and all kind of, not much effective 100%. And that's a one side. I think students also not very happy about that. And in the government employees also, certain situations are not happy. I heard about that teachers also going to do a kind of a strikes. And even these Port Authority issues also another one. Likewise, I think you can see in the people are making more demands. People also not, they are not in a happy mood. Those are the kind of issues we can see that the budget figures are not realistic.
Thank you very much, Professor Kennedy, of course, for joining us on our show and expressing your views. Of course, thank you very much to all our viewers out there for tuning in, as you always do, to Newsline Live. Until we meet again next week, take care and God bless.
Thank you. Thank you.